به نام خدا. قبل از هر چیز خسته نباشید میگم خدمت همه دوستان که به خصوص کسانی که از دیروز در جلسات شرکت داشتن. به هر حال بحث‌های علمی و گفتگوهای فلسفی سنگینی‌های خاص خودش رو داره. گمان میکنم هممون یه مقدار خسته هستیم، ولی فکر میکنم که به این خستگیش قاعدتاً میارزیده و فکر میکنم که انشالله با دست پر یا تا حدودی پر از این کنفرانس همه ما خارج خواهیم شد. خب طبق برنامه ما در این ساعت یک میزگردی رو ترتیب دیدیم. روال برنامه این است که ما از بعضی اساتید دعوت میکنیم که در این گفتگو شرکت بکنن، ولی به هر حال اون بحث هیچ ترتیبی و آدابی مجوی اینجا انشالله صدق خواهد کرد. هر کدوم از دوستان در هر بخشی از گفتگوها که سوالی دارند میتونن مطرح بکنن و امیدواریم که حالا این بخش از کار هم قابل توجه باشه و یک بحث مفیدی رو ما بتونیم داشته باشیم. بعد از اتمام این بخش هم انشالله بلافاصله مراسم اختتامی است که قول میدیم خیلی کوتاه باشه، خیلی دیگه شما رو بیش از این خسته نکنیم و انشالله شما رو همگی به خدای متعال میسپاریم و امیدواریم که در سالهای آینده هم این اتفاق بیفته و هر سال هم ما بتوانیم بهتر از سال قبل این کنفرانس رو و این همایش رو برگزار بکنیم. خب من دعوت میکنم از همکاران محترمم، ابتدا از مهمانان خارجی شروع میکنم. جناب آقای پروفسور لنرت اشکوف، عرض کنم که ایشون از Science and Research Center Institute for Philosophical Studies از کشور اسلونی هستند. تشریف بیارن. ایشون علاوه بر این مسئولیت دانشگاهی گفتن که پرزیدنت و رئیس یک مؤسسه مطالعات تطبیقی ادیان اسلونی هم هستند. الان هم بیرون با هم صحبت میکردیم، خیلی اظهار علاقه میکردن، گفتن ما فاند مالی خیلی نداریم. خواستم بگم تازه مثل ما هستید درد همو میدونیم، ولی اظهار تمایل میکردن که خیلی مشتاقن به این که اگر زمینش آماده بشود بتوانند، و حالا تعبیر خودشون این بود که ظرفیت‌های زیادی رو من این 2 روز در این برنامه ها دیدم. حالا امیدواریم که اون فاندش هم از یک جایی مقدار فراهم بشود که این زمینه همکاری انشالله بیش از پیش فراهم بشود. مهمان بعدیمون و شرکت کننده بعدیمون جناب آقای پروفسور آندریا اگوتی هستند. دانشگاه اوربینو ایتالی و ایتالیایشون تشریف آوردن. پلیز. ویلکام. از دوستان و همکاران عزیز خودم جناب آقای دکتر آیت رئیس محترم انجمن فلسفه علمی ایران و همچنین از دوست بسیار ارجمند و فاضل و فریخته و خوبم جناب آقای دکتر اکبری از اعضای محترم انجمن علمی فلسفه دین. خب ما البته یه مقدار مشکل زبان رو هم داریم، حالا سعی میکنیم دیگه. من یه جلسه فکر میکنم PR سال بود، اگر دوستان بودن تو اختتامیش اومدم ترجمه کنم، یه کمی خراب کردم، بعد دیدم همه میگن ما ترجمه نمیخوایم، شما ترجمه نکن، و دیدیم که نه الحمدلله همه دوستان چیز هستن. حالا ما اگر لازم شد در حد ترجمه مختصر و توانی که داریم خدمتتون هستیم، ولی فکر میکنم که حالا بتونیم بدون ترجمه شما چیز کنید.
بسم الله الرحمن. آقای آندریا اگوتی رئیس انجمن فلسفه دین ایتالیا هستند، لذا زمینه بسیار خوبی میتونه باشه بین انجمن‌های فلسفه دین ایران و ایتالیا که بشه در این زمینه هم با همدیگه فعالیت داشته باشیم و مخصوصا که با انجمن فلسفه دین اروپایی، ما یه یوروپیان اسوسییشن آف فلسفی آف ریلیجن هم هست که با اون هم میتونن ارتباط برقرار کنن. ولی الان این یکی از زمینهای بسیار خوب هست که ما از حضور جناب آقای آندریا اگوتی هم بتونیم تو این زمینه استفاده کنیم.
خب من عنوانی که برای بحث پیشنهاد کردم که با چارچوب و محور اصلی کنفرانس هم هماهنگ باشه، گفتیم تصاویر مختلفی که از انسان و خدا در ادیان مختلف هست، این رو حالا در حد فرصتی که داریم بحث بکنیم و به خصوص آقای پروفسور اشکوف جایی که من میدونم و از مقالهشون هم در این کنفرانس پیدا بود، مطالعات بین الادیانی و در واقع مطالعات الهی یا تطبیقی خوبی دارن و میتونن اگر دوستان سوالاتی تو این زمینه دارن انشالله پاسخ بدن. حالا نمیدونم مستقیم از سوال درست کنیم. Okay. As I told you, we are going to talk in this round table about a very common and of course somehow general topic, God and man according to diverse religious traditions. Because in this round table we have scholars from Islamic thought and also scholars from Christian world and Christian tradition. And as far as I know, Professor Eshkov is a scholar in comparative studies in religious and theology. And as I told the audience, I hope that you can help them to answer some of the questions concerning the common or different perspectives about God and man. So first of all, I would like to ask you to have a short introduction, if you want.
Okay, then maybe I would have 2 points which are quite distinctive, but since this was not so strictly to defined, yeah. For example, one is more theological, another one is more political and ethical. The first one is about, I teach course on 3 monotheisms at the Faculty of Theology, which is supposed to cover 3 monotheisms of Judaism, Christianity and Islam. But then I always ask my students how many monotheisms there are really in the world today or in the past. And then we, of course, we start with Egyptian civilization. We have this Echnaton in the 14th century, this very short period of, very short time. But there was probably first, from the point of comparative religion, religious science, account on let us say, cosmological monotheistic thought in ancient Egypt. Then, of course, we have 3 monotheisms which come one after another in Revelations. Of course, there is in Hindu or Indian context, but more exactly in Hinduism, we can even have first traces of monotheistic appearances in Vedic hymns to Varuna, which was I studied Vedic religion quite for a long time, and especially I studied the god Varuna. I spoke about Mitra yesterday, but there are a couple, but Varuna is more important because, as you know, Varuna is Asura, in Iranian context, Asura was Ahura. So Varuna is somehow counterpart to Ahura Mazda in Indian context, and then we have one more monotheism, which is called by Indological in Indological studies as acute monotheism, because it appears between the so-called henotheistic context of Max Miller. So when you need this god, and at this moment among 1,000 gods of Vedic India, Varuna is the supreme god, the spring of all truth, the guardian of the highest truth possible, and all the stars are his spies and so forth. And of course there are other theisms or even monotheism. If you read theological literature of scholars on Indian religion, such as Heinrich von Stietenhofen and others, they claim that, of course, after the Vedic period, Shivaism, Vishnuism, and related traditions were in a way structurally monotheistic, because there are some, for example, in 11th century in India, if you would, of course, this age, if you would like to become a Vishnuist and you are Shivaist, you would need to de-baptize yourself and then baptize yourself again in a this is the time when in India Hinduism did not exist as a word, because we know that Hinduism comes from Sanskrit word from the river Sindhu, and then the British colonialists have just said that everyone that lives over the river is a Hindu, because they're.
Sorry to interrupt you. دوستان ترجمه میخواد یا؟
Yeah. It's.
بعد میرسیم یه خورده صحبت اول بکنم مختصر بعد
یه ترجمه خیلی لازم نداره اگر داره که اشاره بکنم.
Yeah, and then I finished my introductory.
This was your first point.
Like intervention that, of course, I also talk about Sikhism. So this is a vast variety. The term monotheism was coined in Europe in the somehow 17th century, and is very characteristic, and of course covers basically three monotheism that we know. But this is one opening question which is very paradigmatic for everything that we want to know about religion today. But I can skip second point because it's totally different.
اوکی. نکته اولیشون خیلی خلاصه اونطور که من فهمیدم گفتن که من به دانشجوام که درس میدم درباره ادیان توحیدی درس میدم که سه دین اصلی یهودیت و مسیحیت و اسلام است. منتها گفت این مسئله مطرحه که آیا ادیان توحیدی منحصر در اینهاست یا خیر. و ظاهراً یک ایده هایی رو مطرح کردن که احتمال داره در تمدن های دیگری و سنت های دیگری دینی هم بحث مونوتئیسم و در واقع دیدگاه توحیدی باشه. از جمله اشاره کردن به تمدنی در مصر و بعضی در واقع شاخه های در هندویزم، مقایسه های راجع به الهه ها و خدایانی که در اینجا بود اشاره کردن. ولی به هر حال اولین مسئله که خواستم مطرح کنم که میگن یک اوپن کوئسچن هست و هنوز جای تحقیق داره، اینه که آیا این که الان مشهور شده که ما میگیم ادیان توحیدی و سریع ذهنمون میره پیش سه تا دین، آیا این انحصاری در این سه تا دین داره یا نه؟ اوکی.
So, as you know, say, or mainly say, I have some problems with English. So, if I prepare a written text, I can explain me in a sufficient way. But now I don't have any written text, so please be patient with me. I'm very happy for this participation to this conference. I was very curious to know this reality, and I'm impressed by I would say by the Iranian way to approach philosophy of religion. It's a surprise for me because you have a knowledge of the Western philosophy of religion, of the contemporary debate, that's even better than we have in Italy. Mainly in Italy, scholars in philosophy of religion, they are very good in reconstructing the history of philosophy of religion. Really, they are very good. They can construct good monographies about authors or a period of philosophy of religion, but they don't have passion for the discussion. And I would say to approach a theoretical problem and discuss this problem in a deeper way. That's our problem at the moment. And now I have seen in this day this that you don't have this problem. That many problems we have discussed about many complex topics. I think in a productive way. So I think that that's my problem is how can we do philosophy of religion in this time, and can philosophy of religion be useful for our time? My answer is yes, if we try to catch the problem, to pose the serious questions, and to try to find the right solutions. It's not easy. It's a more complex topic, but I think we have to try. I don't want to do philosophy of religion in a reductive way. You know that in modern history of philosophy of religion, there are many authors that who taught that philosophy of religion had to find just one rational philosophy of religion, just one rational concept of religion, natural religion or rational religion. But natural religion or rational religion is just an intellectual building construction. It doesn't exist in the real life, and so we have to, I think, move from the different religious traditions in order to find which common grounds we have, and I think that, for example, natural theology can be a common ground on which we can discuss many topics that are present in different religious traditions. For example, this morning we have discussed about omnipotence or omniscience, or about divine attributes, and we can do it. So I am Christian and you are Islamic, but we can do it in a very plausible way, and that's the common ground. You know, we have different religious traditions, but we can encounter as discussing this topic. So thank you.
تشویق خاصی
تشویق بکنید که همش باید تشویق بکنید.
نه این حرفشون رو خیلی به دل می‌نشست دوستان. بله ایشون خیلی ابتدا اظهار تعجب کردن که من واقعا این قضایی که در این سمینار دیدم اسباب سورپرایز و تعجبم شد، و به خصوص تاکید کردن که شما رو خیلی اهل حوصله و اهل بحث دیدم و گفتن که در غرب خیلی‌ها کتاب می‌نویسن در مورد مسائل فلسفی، ولی تحمل آراء مخالف رو و تحمل و حوصله این که بنشینند و بحث بکنن ندارن. در حالی که برایشون خیلی جالب بودی که ما این 2 روز نشستیم دور هم و به حال کلی گفتگو و بحث کردیم و سوالی رو مطرح کردن که آیا در حال حاضر فلسفه دین لازمه پرداختن فلسفه دین؟ گفتن جواب من مثبته، منتها مشروط به این که گفتن ما مسائل خوب رو پیدا بکنیم و سعی بکنیم برایش پاسخهای معقولی پیدا کنیم، و نهایتاً گفتن زمینه مشترک بین ما و شما در این 2 روز هم شاهد بودیم که گفتن صبح هم بحثایی در مورد اوصاف خداوند و علم مطلق و قدرت مطلق و اینها شده. گفتن ما مسیحی هستیم و شما مسلمان، ولی دیدیم که یک زمینه مشترک خوبی برای گفتگو با هم داشتیم و این هم برایشون جالب بود.
I must thank for our foreign guests to come to Iran, and it is very good opportunity for us to have this kind of dialogue between our tradition and also Western tradition in philosophy of religion. I want to say that we need a kind of comparative philosophy of religion between two traditions, especially between Christianity and Islam. And it is a necessary dialogue between Islamic world and also Christian world, not Western world, because all the Western world is not a Christian one. By this matter, I want to ask about the question that what is the meaning of subjects in both traditions? For example, the meaning of God, the attributes of God. We spoke about omnipotence and omniscience and about the God, attributes of God. But all the culture give us a kind of concept of God that can be different from another culture. The meaning of omnipotence and the meaning of قدرت مطلق, both we think is the translation, but both of them has two kinds of conception. And I am saying that it is very necessary for us to know what is the differences and what is the similarities between these two concepts, especially in philosophy of religion, because philosophy of religion, philosophizing of religion in the Western world is belong to Christianity and Islam. First in Christianity and after some years in Islamic world. But we have really very rare activities in Judaism about philosophy of religion, in Buddhism about philosophy of religion. I know that there are some books on Buddhist concept of philosophy of religion and also Indian concept, but it is very it is not common. It's not very it is very few activities in this matter. Therefore, in reality, there are two cultures that must have this kind of mutual understanding, and it is very important for them to have this kind of comparison. But I want to add that the meaning of some concepts in Islamic tradition and Western tradition is different. Because of that, some Christian thinkers suppose that the God in Islamic tradition is like the God on their culture. Because of that, something is said in Islamic thought is very strange for them. I think it is very necessary to have good conception of both sides. For the I admire the works of Professor Thomas Michel in this respect. Was very good comparative between Islam and Christianity. And I think it can be a very good first step for other activities. من خودم بحثی که مطرح کردم این که ما نیاز به یه فلسفه دین تطبیقی داریم که بتونیم این فلسفه دین تطبیقی رو تو جامعه داشته باشیم بین اسلام و مسیحیت. مسئله رو هم به این صورت مطرح کردم که ما بحث فلسفه دین در سایر حوزه‌های دینی کمتر مطرحه. بله داریم بعضی چیزا هستش که در بودیسم حتی داریم کتابی که در مورد بودیسم، فلسفه دین بودیسم داره و یا اینکه نقد اونها از فلسفه دین اسلام مسیحیت. اما اینا خیلی محدود هستن. دومین مطلبی که خیلی تاکید داشتم چون بحث خدا هستش، این که مفاهیم خیلی اهمیت داره. مفهوم خدا در سنت اسلامی با مفهوم خدا در سنت مسیحی با هم یه شباهت هایی داره، یه تفاوت هایی داره. اگر اینو بهش توجه نکنیم بعضی سا خیلی نامفهوم و اشتباه فهمیده خواهد شد. به خاطر همینم بعضی از مسیحیان بعضی وقتا از بعضی کلماتی که ما مسلمان به کار میبریم تعجب میکنن، به خاطر اینکه اونا به برداشت خودشون از خدا میخوان ببینن که این در اسلام چه معنی میده.
Many thanks to our audience and our guests. I want to return to Professor Saidi's questions about the notion of God in Abrahamic religion or religions. First, I want to say that we have a kind of moral responsibility toward our audience. I mean, we should take care of the consequences of our teachings. I mean, there are there are differences between the epistemic faculties and epistemic abilities of our audience. So we should care of this. This is my first point, and I want to introduce my second point. In Holy Bible we recite that وَيِّفْرَا إِلُهِيم إِتْهَا أَدَمْ بِتْصَلْمُ بِتْصَيْلِمْ إِلُهِيم بَرَاءُتُ. It means that God created the man in his image. And so we have the some kind of perfectness that God has. So if we want to teach our audience the notion of God, we should care and I want to say use very good figurative notions. For example, we can use the notion of a dictator and introduce God as a dictator, or we should introduce God as a father or as a teacher or as a mother. I want to say that in our religious teaching we should care about two notions, and they are knowledge, intellect, and care. So we should introduce God as intellect-centered figurative speaking and care-centered figurative speaking. If we notice the term El in Semitic language and notice the pictograph of this term, we can see two alphabet. I mean Aleph and Lamed. The pictograph of Aleph in Semitic language is the head of a cow, and it means power. And the pictograph of Lamed in Semitic language is a walking stick. It means some kind of knowledge. So if we care about these figurative speaking of God, I mean knowledge, considering God as a teacher, and care, considering God as a father, I think we had cared about of our moral responsibility toward our audience. Why? I should come to my third point. I think any of us have a child in his inner part. So when we hear something, we use our imagination and make some picture of what we heard. If I hear about God in a figurative speaking, for example, as a teacher, I make in my imagination a picture of a teacher or a picture of father who care about me. And I think if we do this, we can be sure that we are making our effort in the best way. Thanks. من 3 نکته عرض کردم. یکی اینکه ما مسئولیت اخلاقی در قبال شنوندگانمون داریم. نکته دوم این هستش که در این مقام باید از استعاره‌های مناسب استفاده بکنیم. خداوند انسان رو به صورت خودش آفریده و بنابراین باید به این توجه داشته باشیم. تصورم این هست که استعاره پدر و استعاره معلم با محوریت تعقل و دلسوزی اهمیت داره. و نکته سوم این که ما با قوه تخیل خودمون مفهوم سازی و تصویر سازی میکنیم و این تصویر سازی ما عواطف یا ایموشن ما رو، عواطف ما رو جهت‌دهی میکنه که آیا به سمت خدا گرایش پیدا بکنیم یا گرایش پیدا نکنیم.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to raise a very specific question about the difference between God's attributes in Christianity and Islam, and want you to help me to have an answer to this question. Usually we are heard that love is a very important attribute of Christian God, and sometimes we see that Christians think that the God of Islam is not a loving God. But Muslim people think that we have some expressions in scriptures like Rahim, Rahman, and the like, and these are very similar, very close in meaning to what we call love in Christian tradition. So I want to ask you, what's your idea, whether this is a deep and fundamental difference between Christian and Islamic God, or we can get rid of this difference. من سوال کردم که خدای مسیحیت معمولاً با لاو خیلی شناخته میشه و در مسیحیت به عنصر عشق خیلی تاکید میکنن که خداوند عاشق بندگانش هست. خیلی از توابع بحث‌های فلسفه دینی هم رو همین مفهوم هست، ولی در اسلام معمولاً این مفهوم خیلی برجسته نمیشه. می‌خواستم ببینم که نظر دوستان ما چی هست، این تفاوت چقدر جدی هست. Whoever wants to.
I have one short answer to our colleague,
okay,
but I can
feel free
briefly,
yeah.
and maybe my colleague will be much better person to answer this. As an answer to your proposal, my first intervention was somehow in the spirit of Wilfred Cantwell Smith, that I very admire, Canadian Christian, I would say philosopher of religion, theologian, but he was really a person that was probably the most important for the dialogue between Christians and Muslims, because he himself was a scholar in Islamic studies and lived in Lahore before the partition of India for many years, had many colleagues there, and knew all possible things about Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, for example, and Buddhism. So he was really, because he knew all these languages. So one predisposition for this claim of yours is probably, hermeneutically speaking, that you are somehow not born in two traditions, but that you are somehow also a part of another tradition, through the language, through knowledge of a culture and so forth. And I think that if we keep, he invented a new tradition which is called theology of religions. This is the concept that he invented. So theology of religions is possible, in my opinion. So they are not only theologies of particular religions and dogmatics. Okay, we know that dogmatics is necessary even in Catholic Church, in Islam. This is not a problem for me as a philosopher, because dogmatics sometimes is very philosophical. But a part of this, in the spirit of Wilfred Cantwell Smith, we can then inquire how is it with love, how is it with symbolic language, with ritual in various religions. So about love, it is of course a very difficult question. Obviously, for my experience, for my knowledge, it is this difference, which is of course the Jesus Christ, which was sent to us out of God's love, which is very important, of course, also in philosophy of religion, because it is embodied God, very close to our bodies. Even we can talk about an inner love in ourselves as Christ. Even when we see his wound when he was crucified, and after that, this wound has many metaphorical usages, and somehow it is entrance into his body, which becomes our possibility to share with him, and then we have stigmata and so forth. So these are probably Christian concepts about love that come to my mind. But otherwise, in contemporary philosophy of religion that I know, the focus is absolutely on those more weak concepts like love, care, touch, proximity, and these are philosophical topics, mostly of intersubjective ethical character. And I think that if we think from the bottom up, if we begin somehow on the ground, in our bodies, in our intersubjective relations, then it is not such a difference if there is a savior which is called Messiah or Christ or monotheistic God. But then we are the persons who somehow first among ourselves, within our family, towards animals, of course, also because animal theology is also quite an issue today, or towards food, also theology and food is the topic that I like, because food is really consecrated. It's something that is come out of love of God. So these are the topics I cover somehow. I would say gestures, proximity, touch, breath, which is some space between us. And then I have some access to various religions from that, not only 2 or 3, but then I have access to many religions. So this is, in my opinion, as according to my knowledge, the most essential field, according to my of course, personal preferences, in contemporary, I would say, continental philosophy of religion, not analytical necessary, more continental, but just short in duration.
دو تا نکته رو آقای پروفسور مطرح کردن. اول در پاسخ به صحبت آقای دکتر آیت اللهی در مورد اینکه ما کامپراتیو فلسفه ریلیجن میخوایم تایید کردن و گفتن آقای ویلفرد کانول سمیت که از معاصرین هست از قضا تو این حوزه کار کرده و به حال گفتن حتی به نظر من ما غیر از اعتقادات جزمی و دوگماهایی که یا اعتقادات جزمی که در همه ادیان کم و بیش هست و باید هم باشد، ما میتونیم به سمت یک تئولوژی آف ریلیجنز بریم، یعنی یک الهیات ادیان که حالا احتمالاً اون مسائل مشترک رو باید در بر بگیرید. در مورد عشق هم گفتن بله خدای مسیحیت برش عشق خیلی برجسته است و پیوند دادن این رو با بحث تجسد و با بحث به صلیب کشیده شدن عیسی مسیح رو، ولی گفتن ما الان مفهوم‌های در واقع ویک رو به کار بردنشون ضعیف‌تری، مثلا که حالا اون بار به قول ما معونه زیادی که در مسیحیت داره و حتما پیوند میخوره با تجسد و با اینکه خدای متجسد رو بپذیریم، یک مفاهیم یه مقدار کم معونه تری مطرح شده، مثل تقرب به خدا، توجه خدا نسبت به بندگان یا تقرب خدا به انسان، و گفتن که این رو میشه روش در واقع پیش رفت و بیشتر ابعاد، حالا اینطور که من فهمیدم، ابعاد اخلاقی این اتریبیوت و این صفت مهمه که در آثارش در بحث اخلاق، که بعد گفتن ما حتی میتونیم مثلا الهیات حیوان داشته باشیم، حیوانات در واقع اون دیدگاه الهیاتی در باب حیوان که اون تعیین کننده مواجهه اخلاقی ما با حیوانات باشه. این البته خیلی خلاصه من عرض کردم، اگر ناقصه ببخشید دیگه.
So it's a hard question. So it's sure that for a Christian, God is love. That's the definition of God that St. John gives in his first letter in the New Testament. But obviously, as theologians or as philosophers of religion, we can ask about for the meaning of this term, of this concept. So, what is love? we can intend this term and this concept in very different ways. So, I think that. For a Christian and for a Muslim as well, we can intend this term, this concept, if we refer this term, this concept to God. So we can say that God is a benevolent being. So he created the world. He created the human beings. He is in himself God, and Aquinas, for example, says that God is the greatest God, supreme God, good. Sorry. In this way, say that God is love means to say that He takes care about us, about the world, about the history of man, and He wants the good for human beings and for the world. I think that at that level we say the same thing. Christian and Islamic people say the same thing. I don't know exactly where I can put the differences. So if we take the figure of Jesus Christ, in my mind, the life and death of Jesus Christ is the most the better evidence of the love of God, because if you love someone, you are it's possible that you have to sacrifice yourself. So I read so I interpret the death of Jesus as a form of self-sacrifice. So if you are loving someone, you are ready to the self-sacrifice. Yeah, that's I can say from a Christian point of view, but from an Islamic point of view, you have to say what you intend as love. I can't say it. Thank you.
بله، ایشون هم تایید کردن که خدای مسیحیت، در مورد خدای مسیحیت بحث عشق خیلی مهم هست و اشاره کردن که سنت جان در عهد جدید اساساً خدا رو با عشق تعریف کرده. حالا به اون آیش اشاره نکردن، منم تو ذهنم نیست کجا، ولی گفتم اونچه که مهمه اینه که ما عشق رو معنا کنیم. حالا خدا عاشق هست بله، ولی به چه معنایی؟ و گفتن بر اساس فلسفه تحلیلی و دیدگاه تحلیلی باید عشق رو ما تحلیل بکنیم. گفتن به نظر من عشق لزوما چیز خیلی خاصی نیست، همین که خدا از ما مواظبت میکنه، از بندگان خودش به ما توجه میکنه، خیر ما رو میخواد، این همون عشق خدا هست. البته باز در آخرش به نظرم یه مقدار به سمت اون عقاید خاص مسیحیت رفتن، گفتن که زندگی و مرگ عیسی به نظر من بهترین شاهد بر عشق خداوند هست و چون عشق بخواد تجلی پیدا کنه باید در فدا کردن خود تجلی پیدا کنه که انسان برای معشوق خودش حاضر باشه خودش رو فدا بکند و این فدا کردن و سکریفایس به نظر ایشون در مرگ عیسی مسیح خودش رو خیلی جلوه داده و در آخر گفتن خب این عشق در مسیحیت ولی عشق در مورد خدای اسلام رو گفتن دیگه مسلمونا باید بفرمایند، من اطلاع ندارم. اینم داخل پرانتز عرض کنم اگر دقت کردن دوستان، آقای اشکوف من دیگه نگفتم، ایشون اشاره کردن که من بیشتر کانتیننتالم، ایشون بیشتر تحلیلی هستن، این تفاوت دیدگاه رو هم اینجا می شود. I told them that if I'm correct, I told them that you seem to be more continental and this professor.
That's the right situation in Europe, you know. We are divided between this.
تایید کردن که
But they are stronger than us.
But in Anglo-Saxon countries, it's the commerce.
Yeah.
ما این دور که تمام شد دیگه منتظر سوالات اساتید و دوستان باشه. آره کوتاه بگین یا میخواید؟
I want to quote from Ninian Smart, a very famous phenomenologist of religion. He said in his book that the God of Christianity is a lover. But in Islam, the God is somehow harshness, has harshness. And because in Christianity, God is pure love. But in Islamic thought, the pureness of love is not means that we don't have any harshness and punishment like this. And I want to say that these are two different conceptions of Islamic and Western. Very briefly I said. من عرض کردم که نینیان اسمارت در جایی در کتاب خودش میگه، خب یه پدیدارشناس مهم دین هستش، میگه که خدای اسلام و مسیحیت، خدای مسیحیت کاملا عشق محض، در صورتی که خدای اسلام یه مقداری مثل این که خشونت بیشتر داره مثلا، و عرضم به حضورتون که و میتونه توبیخ و تنبیه هم براش معنی پیدا بکنه.
Thanks, and I have 2 points here. I think in this time we should see similarities more than differences between religions because of the atheist section in this society. I think we should have more interdialogue to reach to understanding and not to reach to have objection to each other. I think it is better for our time. And the second point, I think we should go beyond the expression, the linguistic expression, and find the core meaning of Abrahamic religion expression in their sacred books. So maybe we have love or intellect, but we should find the core meaning of these different expression in sacred books. So I should have very short answer. به همین مقدار من بسنده میکنم. من عرض کردم 2 نکته رو باید بهش توجه بکنیم. یکی این که بیشتر به شباهت ها در ادیان توجه بکنیم تا اختلاف ها. صحبت هامون از باب رسیدن به فهم باشه، نه از باب این که بخوایم با هم اشکال بکنیم. و نکته دوم این که باید به از ظواهر گذر بکنیم، ظواهر متون دینی، و تلاش بکنیم اون امر مشترک رو در بینشون پیدا بکنیم که اون معنای اصلی است که در اینجا باید مد نظر قرار بگیره.
خب بسیار خوب. ولی دیگه نوبت سوالات هست دوستان. آقای دکتر شما؟ دکتر اخوان میکروفون گرفتید شما؟ نکنه میکروفون مجانیه گفتید بگیریم ببریم.
روشن آقای حسینی روشنش بکنید کار میکنه؟
این آقای شجاعی هم این 2 روزه ما رو
صدا میرسه بس میگم
چون ضبط نمیشه، اگه بدون میکروفون ضبط نمیشه.
نه اینجا هستن آقای سعیدی. Please load it.
My first question goes for Eshkoof. You mentioned some religions in Egypt and India, Hindu and Egyptian religions, who are, who go under the category of Hinduism, where we have the pantheon of gods and one god is on top, and regarded them as monotheism. And then my question is, could pantheism be a monotheism? Because with your grand definition of monotheism, pantheism could be monotheism, but I object because we have a pantheon of gods, whereas monotheism, there's just one supreme god and no gods. And second question goes to Professor Eckberry. Upon what he said, that God created man in his own image, Elohim Barahu. And then second, that God is the image of God given is just the head of the clan and the wife of the being. And if man is created in the image of God, which entails that man is the crown of creation, as monotheistic religions say, then the same problem, traditional problem, occurs, that is a critique against religions, that then man finds himself entitled to abuse nature, and then all the environmental problems are justified. Man can abuse nature in his own favor. Why? Because he's the crown of creation. He's the image of God on earth. So how to solve this traditional problem?
2 سوال کردن. من خیلی خوب. سوال اول این بود که آقای پروفسور اشاره کردن به برخی ادیان دیگری که احتمالا اینا مونوتئیستیک هستن، توحیدی هستند. خانم سوالشون این بود که اینها وقتی خدایان متعددی رو قبول دارن، مجموعه از خدایان رو قبول دارن، چطور میشه اینا توحیدی باشن؟ و سوالی هم از آقای دکتر اکبری کردن در باب اون تعبیری که البته ما در روایات خودمون هم هست، اگر دوستان مستحضرن، که البته بحثی که واقعا روایت مستندی هست یا نه، که خلق الله آدم علی صورته. حالا بحث‌های مفصلی هم روی این معنای این عبارت هست. به حال اشکال ایشون این بود که اگر این رو بپذیریم، انسان باید تاج و گل سرسبد آفرینش باشد، چون بر صورت خدا آفریده شده. و این وقت با این مشکلاتی که این انسان دوپا، این بود دیگه سوال، در عالم ایجاد کرده بالاخره. بله این چطور میشه که انسان گل سرسبد باشد و اینقدر در عالم فساد و تباهی ایجاد کنه؟ این مشکل رو چطور حل میکنه؟
Okay, well, very shortly. There are 2 strategies. One is, I said, okay, hi. I said cosmological monotheism, so it was a predicate, and acute monotheism. So it's like when you're sick and you're acute in some condition, and then again you go back. So this is not a problem for me at all. Of course, there are 3 Abrahamic religions. This is but also, as you heard in my lecture, probably you were there, I was saying that there is some multiplicity needed within Christianity. Obviously, Trinity is a concept that is very difficult for example, Islam to think, and vice versa. So there's this second strategy that at least within Christianity there is some multiplicity that could be taught together with strict, I would say, monarchical monotheism, which was heavily criticized in the 20th century or second half of 20th century theology. And then there are other concepts. I remember the highly respected anthropologist Evans Pritchard, for example. He was first atheist, then converted to Catholicism, and then he said that he converted to Nuer religion, African religion, which he found so fantastic expression of somehow monotheistic religion. And we shouldn't be so narrow in this, in claiming what religions are, because there are so many religions in the world that deserve to be, to have their place. But of course, we have to decide. As I said, monotheism is was coined in Europe for labeling religions that were not polytheistic, because this was the birth of the comparative religion, and they needed some topics, some concepts. So we could have another term. It was just a European invention to name it. But
خلاصه پاسخ اولیشون به اون سوال اول این بود که به هر حال حالا من از اواسطش خلاصش میکنم، در مسیحیت هم ما یک نوع تکثری میبینیم در باب خدا که گاهی اوقات در ارتباط با ترینیتی و تثلیث بیان میشه. به هر حال اونجا هم اون توحید مثلا محض حالا به تعبیر من وجود نداره، ولی در عین حال ما مسیحیت رو با یک خوانش‌های مونوتئیستیک و توحیدی حساب میکنیم. بنابراین نظرشون این بود که ما توحیدی رو نباید خیلی زیغ معنا بکنیم که خیلی از ادیانی که میتونن به نوعی توحیدی محسوب بشن خارج بشن. بعد اشاره کردن به یه آقایی، من اسمش یادم رفت، که گفتن تحقیقاتی کرده در ادیان آفریقایی و دیگر ادیان کمتر شناخته شده و یک مایه‌هایی، دستمایه‌هایی از توحید رو و مونوتئیسم رو در اعتقادات اونها کشف کرده و آخر گفتن این اصلا اصطلاح مونوتئیسم در اروپا جعل شد، ساخته شد به خاطر اینکه بحث‌های تطبیقی ادیان ابتدا اونجا مطرح شد و می‌خواستن یک تفکیکی قرار بدن بین شرک، پلی‌تئیسم و مثلا این طرف و اومدن واژه مونوتئیسم رو اختراع کردن. میگن خب ما میتونیم مثلا یه واژه دیگر، یه اصطلاح جدیدی بذاریم که اون معنای خاص تاریخی خودش رو نداشته باشه.
So, I read your question in two ways, descriptive and normative. In my descriptive reading, I think you want to say that if we see the human beings' action in the world, then we can say that this verse is not right. This is a wrong verse. If this reading is right, I can answer that the verse does not say that when God created human beings as His image, it is an actual deed. It means that human beings has potentiality to have, to receive, to reach to perfectness as God. But in normative reading of this of your question, we accept the verse, and then we will say that this verse allows human beings to do bad deeds on bad acts, for example, toward nature on other creatures. I think we can answer this question by having the notion of intellect in our mind. God is powerful, but also is omniscient. So if people are like God in their image, so they should care about other creatures and, for example, and natures and some other creatures. The second point in this normative reading of your questions is Satan. So we cannot get rid of Satan in our life. من عرض کردم دو تا جور میشه فهمید. یکی این که در واقع همینطوری دیسکریپتیو بفهمیم، یعنی این که عمل انسان رو ببینیم پس بگیم آیه غلطه که ایشون گفتن نه منظورم این نیست. دوم این که این رو نورماتیو بفهمیم به این معنا که چون خدا گفته انسان به صورت خودش آفریده شده، پس انسان به خودش اجازه میده که این اجازه رو داره که این کارا رو انجام بده. من عرض کردم علاوه بر این که این تصویر خداوند بحث قدرت هست، بحث علم هم هست، بحث حکمت در اینجا معنا پیدا میکنه. بنابراین ما باید نسبت به بقیه موجودات توجه و کیر، یعنی توجه و دلسوزی هم داشته باشیم. و نکته دوم توجه به نقش شیطان در زندگی اجتماعی است.
برای که سوء تفاهم نشه، این ورس که گفتی توی کتاب مقدسه.
بله ورس، بله کتاب مقدس،
تو روایت.
بله نه، این ورس در بایبل.
Mr. Tayyip. So would you please Mr. Tayyip, would you please introduce yourself first? very shortly for the audience, your name and your nationality.
My name is Toyib Olawi. I'm from Nigeria. I study here in Tehran at Al-Mustafa International University. And some of my professors are here, Professor Ayatollahy and Professor Sa'idi. So my question is about the scope of the philosophy of religion. Is it restricted to the similarities and differences between the Abrahamic religions, for example, Islam, Christianity, or Judaism, or is it, or does it focus also on the internal differences within these three or the other religions? We usually hear phrases like the Islamic concept of God, but which we have this Salafi concept, we have the Shia concept, we have the Sufi concept. So which of them is the Islamic concept of God? Then if you want to compare the Islamic concept of God with the Christian concept of God, from which of the Christian sects and denominations, which one is the Christian concept of God? So, as I understand, it's usually philosophy of religion focuses on the religions, not the sects and denominations. But then there's a problem, because when you present this concept, is the defining, for example, the defining concept of God in Islam, which, when we look at it, belongs maybe to one of the several Islamic sects. It's unhelpful. Okay. So, I don't know.
Who wants you to answer?
Professor Ayatollahy, and I forgot this.
Professor اشکوف.
Yes.
سوالشون سوال خوبی کردن به نظر من، که بحث مطالعات تطبیقی ادیان آیا فقط محدود به ما بین ادیانی است، مثلا اسلام و مسیحیت، یا ما میتونیم مطالعات تطبیقی درون یک دین هم داشته باشیم؟ و اشاره کردن که چون اونجا در کشور اینها خیلی این، تا جایی که من باشون صحبت کردم، دیدگاه‌های سلفی و وهابی اونجا خیلی شدید هست، که این اختلافات درون دینی، اینترا ریلیجیس، این هم میتونه جزو مطالعات تطبیقی باشد که به ظاهرا به نظرشون باید باشد. و میگن وقتی میگیم خدای اسلام و خدای مسیحیت، خدای کدام اسلام و خدای کدام مسیحیت؟ مثلا خدای سلفی ها رو با خدای کاتولیک ها مثلا، یا خدای مثلا شیعه رو، این تفاوت های درونی رو چطور باید حل بکنیم؟
Shortly, as I can see it, of course, if you have interfaith dialogue, then always are there concessions, generalization that you made. This is also noted in footnotes or elsewhere, that of course they know that they are aware that there are many differences, but if they talk about Christian and Christianity, Islam, that those generalizations will be made. But otherwise, if you take some other topics such as grace or related topics, predestination, then you know exactly that you talk about Luther or about Calvin or about some Protestant topic, or that you talk about St. Paul and so forth. Then in this case I don't see a problem. Then there are exact references, whether this X versus Epsilon and so forth, that is not generalized. So, and if you take concepts such as mentioned earlier, like love and body and the touch, then you always make reference to some passages which are either historical or from philosophy of religion as a discipline, as a such. And if you take phenomenology of religion, it is a concept that is firmly found in European, I would say, German and French tradition, or of course also others, and which has its own methodology. And the majority of philosophers of religion in the early church were Protestant theologians, basically. Also, German philosophy was Protestant. But now, in the recent years, I think that the best, again, in my opinion, continental philosophers dealing with theological topics, not necessarily with philosophy of religion, come from Catholic team. I would say I like, for example, Jean Marion, I like Chrétien, I like Irigaray, I like Caputo. They're all Catholics, and they have this special sense for you know, Catholicism is different as Protestant churches. We have, as I might say, if I may talk as a Catholic now, although I'm of a special kind, this sense for this proximity, for anti-rational approaches, if I say mildly, for compassion, for this also sexual difference because of this tension between Jesus and Mary, and the role of Mary, which is absent in this view in Protestant churches. So this was kind of an answer around your question, but I think I answered.
حالا اون قسمت اول جواب که مهم بود، اون اواخرش میفرمان که قبول دارم این اختلافات درونی هست، منتها ما ناچاریم یک نوع تعمیمی بدیم. یعنی وقتی میگیم مثلا خدای مسیحیت، باید یک نوع حالا تعمیم یا جنرالایزیشنی بکنیم و نسبت بدیم به مسیحیت علیرغم اون اختلافات. ولی گفتن بعضی مقولات و مفاهیم و بحث‌ها هست که اینا به اصطلاح رو پیشونیش نوشته که مربوط به کجا هست. مثلا گفتن مفهوم گریس یا لطف یا پردیستینیشن، مثلا اون تقدیر الهی، اینا در مسیحیت معلومه که مرتبط با یک شاخه و یک در واقع سکت خاص، یک گروه خاص هست. حالا اون فکر می‌کنم مطالب بعدیشم چون وقت نیست، می‌خوام سریع‌تر.
I want to add that in my opinion, the God which is spoken in philosophy of religion, that means for those Muslims who believe in philosophy and philosophizing the subject of religion and some questions. Therefore, we don't have any kind of this philosophizing in Salafi's tradition. Yes? Therefore, we are going to examine God in philosophy of religion. Therefore, if we have in Protestant philosophy of religion and in Catholic philosophy of religion and in Islamic thought, for example, among Shi'i Muslims or among some other Muslims, they must say that what is their definition of God. By the moment, I know, in my opinion, philosophy of religion is a discipline among Shi'i thinkers. Therefore, there is no worry about these differences. We are speaking about philosophy of religion, not more. Yeah, thank you. No.
Because it is here.
No,
sorry, I have.
No, it is here.
Okay.
A very sound argument. This is here.
Why to move it twice?
Yeah, you are right.
Okay, it's on. According to the topic of God, the concept God is love, because I think this concept is general among.
Sorry, you forgot to introduce yourself. Short.
Okay, I'm Yetmir Çela from Albania, and I study with my brother at University of Jamiat al-Mustafa. So, Al-Mustafa International University here in Tehran branch. Islamic philosophy. Okay. According to the concept God is love, I had a short question, because it's not clear to me. Does this concept is older than the Crusades? So it was this concept among Christians before the Crusades or not? Because as I know, the Crusades was run by the verdict of Pope, and Pope is a representative of God. So, does this this concept was among Christians before Crusades or not? And according to the what Professor said, as I remember, you mentioned the verse in Hebrew language. So not only in Semite, as I know Semite languages, in almost all the languages, the adjective turns. We know that it turns on the closest mentioned name. So we have a solution for that. I think there is no need to philosophize in which image, which God's image or is on His image is as I know and as I read is in His own image. That was my two questions. Thank you.
سوال اول ایشون این بود که آیا بحث عشق خدا به لحاظ تاریخی برمیگرده پیدایشش و اهمیتش و طرحش به بعد از جنگ‌های صلیبی؟ ظاهراً میخوان بگن در اثر جنگ‌های صلیبی و اون کشمکش هایی که پیش آمد و اینها مثلا شاید مسیحیان به این سمت رفتن که روی این مفهوم تاکید کنن. آیا اینطوری است تاریخی یا نه؟ The first question.
Sorry, but I didn't understand the question. I didn't understand the question. So if
sacrifice himself in order to save the others.
He should be.
But okay,
he should be.
Okay, he should. But if he is not, the Crusades were run with the Pope verdict. So Pope is representative of this love.
But you know that there is often there is a gap between between the theory and the practice. You know,
Yes.
and this gap is present in each religion. I think that in this moment. This gap is present in Islam too.
Yes, but the ISIS are not the official verdict of Islam.
Yes.
And we see these days that all Muslims they reject them. This is my question.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you know, Catholic Church has recognized her mistakes. Has recognized his mistake. I think that we should recognize our own mistakes, and it's just a form of self-sacrifice, you know, to recognize our own mistakes.
But I think this is a kind of dialogue. To reach to objection to religion and not to understanding. It is not? Of history. Thanks.
به نام خدا. آقای دکتر، من سوالم از شما دکتر آیت‌اللهی، اگر ما فلسفه دین تطبیقی رو بپذیریم و برای مثلا آموزه های مسیحی با اسلام رو از زاویه فلسفه دین تطبیق کنیم، از طرف ما هر کدوم به عنوان باورمندان به یک سنت دینی هستیم. اگر تو این تطبیق بفهمیم که برخی از باورهای ما اشتباهست در مقایسه، تکلیف ما چیه؟ یعنی لوازم منطقی چنین فلسفه دین تطبیقی چیه؟ آیا ما باید به لوازم منطقیش هم پایبند باشیم یا نه؟ ممکنه قبول نکنن، یعنی این مطالعه رو بکنن ولی به لوازم منطقیش پایبند نباشن.
Thank you. His question is that if we agree that we have something like comparative religious studies or comparative philosophy, and as a religious person we come through this study to be aware of some of mistakes of our own tradition. So what's our duty? Are we ready to refrain our tradition or not?
Yes. I think yes. We must admire every kind of mistakes that we have in our knowledge. Everybody. And it is the problem with philosophy and religion. If you philosophizing some matter and you understand that this matter is not very good for religion and is a mistake of religion, in my opinion, you must agree with philosophizing. Yes?
من به توصیه هم آقای دکتر اینه که اینو ترجمه نکنن بعداً براشون مشکل ساز.
نه من اشکالی نداره. این که اگر در فلسفه ما این بحث همون فلسفه و دین است که اگر ما در فلسفه به یک امر غلطی در دین رسیدیم آیا باید دین رو قبول کنیم یا فلسفه رو؟ ما در مسئله خودمون به عنوان شیعه معتقدیم که در جایی که دلیل عقلی میاد ما مسائل دیگه غیر عقلی رو باید کنار بذاریم. حالا برای خاطر اینکه زیاد خیلی نترسن مثلا از این بابت که من چیزی میخوام بگم، مثلا فرض میکنید شما در مورد خدا میگین که در 6 روز آفرید. درست شد؟ عقل شما میگه 6 روز قبل از آفرینش روز به این معنای روز نبوده است. یا اینکه ما میگیم خدا رو روز قیامت الی ربها ناظره، به خدای خودش نگاه میکنه. چون اونجا میدونیم عقل به ما میگه که آقا خدا دیدنی نیست، پس میفهمیم که این ناظره که اینجا اومده یه معنای دیگری داره. لذا نه من زیاد نمیترسم چون من بازنشسته شدم دیگه، خیالم ارتقا و همه این چیزا گذشته.
مثال شما ببخشید یکم لطیف‌تر بود. سوال ایشون بود که برسیم به این که اشتباه، شما مثالی از اشتباه نزدید.
میخواد دعوا بندازی.
خب any other question?
My question goes to who is care about it. My point is, any interdialogue needs a ground, and this ground must be neutral, not partial. So I think this ground is philosophy, not any tradition or religion. On the other hand, philosophy itself is affected by special religions. It is a circle that cut the way and cut the interdialogue. My question is, what the solution for this cutting or cut off solution for this problem? Thank you.
فارسیش هم خیلی خلاصه.
سوال من اینه که هر گونه گفتگوی بین دینی نیاز داره به یک زمینه‌ای که این زمینه باید کاملا بی‌طرف باشه. یعنی نمیتونه که فلسفی باشه یا مذهبی باشه به هیچ طریقی، مسیحی یا اسلامی. من میگم که این زمینه فلسفه است، ولی از اون طرف که نگاه کنیم فلسفه خودش متأثر از دین هست. خب این یه دوری ایجاد میکنه. یعنی ما فلسفه نیاز داریم که بین ادیان گفتگو داشته باشیم، از اون طرف خود این فلسفه که ما الان در اختیار داریم متأثر از ادیان هست. این گفتگو رو میبنده. متشکرم. Thank you.
Yeah, I would have maybe 2 or 3 points. One is from social anthropology, for example, Clifford Geertz, who was a highly respected professor of social anthropology, and he conducted his fieldwork mainly on Java and also in Islamic countries. So he said that according to social anthropology and its method, because what was the problem for social anthropology? You always come from the Western country and you deal with some very, very maybe even unknown culture. For example, let us presuppose today no one is no one, but maybe there are still some tribes that were not found and so on. And then he said the only method is that we try to understand well enough, good enough. So, and this is my second point. In Gadamer, we have a well-known strategy of so-called Horizontenverschmelzung, that you try to bring together 2 horizons. And he, as you probably know, the role of Vorurteile, prejudice, which he takes literally as a Vorurteile, something that we bring into the dialogue, must be valued positively. So if we claim that there is a neutral ground, that this is impossible. There were some attempts. My entire postdoc was dedicated to comparative philosophy. So I studied all possible classics of comparative philosophy. And for me, the best was Masson Ursel, for example. He invented this poem, La Philosophie Comparée, in 1922. So he invented this term. And he said that if we cannot compare directly, then we can compare analogously in a way. A versus B is C versus D. So maybe God versus Jesus and his love is Allah versus D. What is D will Islamic scholar tell us. But this is all that we have. A neutral ground. There are some mathematical models in comparative philosophy which claim that there is a neutral ground like science has. But in humanities, I'm afraid it is not. If you have a scholarly conference in Japan and you have 50 mathematicians, it doesn't matter where they've come from. They can just do their conference. If you have the same conference in humanities in Japan, then you have a mess, you know, because there you have Persians, you have Slovenians, you have Germans, Japanese, and their concepts are so different. So this is a humanities question for humanities that you raise. It's not so important in natural sciences, although there are new findings about quarks and so on. We know that there is this principle of interdeterminacy, but this is an interpretive question. But about the method, I think the only method is that we, according to Geertz, try to understand well enough with the help of analogies or some universalist topics such as compassion. You mentioned the Rachamim and Rechem, and this. I also explored compassion in all possible contexts that I could find. And always compassion is related to either to womb, because Rachamim in plural we know that means wombs, so it's matrices in plural, or to trembling, or to some feeling in your body that you feel, or that you are ashamed, and so forth. And so we have a common ground if you want to study compassion. It's already here. In Africa we have Ubuntu concept. So this is maybe fourth strategy. But strategies are always related to our own understanding, of course.
بله، گفتن دو یا سه نکته میگن که فکر میکنم سه نکته رو گفتن. ابتدا گفتن یه آقای به نام کلیفورد گیتس که در حوزه انسانشناسی اجتماعی تحقیق میکنه. ایشون اذعان کرده که معمولا کسانی که از اروپا و کشورهای غربی میان برای شناسایی و تحقیق در کشورهای آفریقایی و شرقی، اینا به حال به دلیل اینکه وابستگی فرهنگی به اون فرهنگ اصلی خودشون دارن، خیلی به سختی و میتونن با در واقع فرهنگ اون کشور مورد تحقیق آشنا بشن و این بالاخره یک مانعی هست. ولی بعد اشاره کردن به دیدگاه گادامر در بحث هرمنوتیک. گادامر توصیه میکنه که در خوانش یک متن باید تلاش بکنیم که افق مثلا ذهنی خواننده با افق ذهنی نویسنده یک تقارب و نزدیکی پیدا کنه، نزدیکی افقها، که گفتن اینو میشه در بحث مطالعات تطبیقی هم پیگیری کرد که ما باید با افق فکری طرف مقابل خودمون یا دو طرف مقایسه سعی کنیم که اینها رو به هم نزدیک بکنیم. گفتن که پی اچ دی من رساله خود ایشون در حوزه فلسفه تطبیقی بوده و روش‌های مختلفی رو در این حوزه ایشون بررسی کردن. گفتن یکی از بهترین روش‌ها که باز من اون اسم اون شخص رو خوب متوجه نشدم. No.
Masson Ursel.
Masson
Ursel. He's not so well known, but he invented the term.
French
comparative philosopher.
علی آقای فرانسوی که حالا اسمش رو دیگه شنیدین، میگن ایشون بهترین روش رو به نظر من داشته و آقای پروفسور پسندیدن. گفتن روش مقایسه‌ای در واقع آنالوژیکال، حالا بگیم تشابهی، که گفتن خیلی موقع وقتی ما دیرکتلی و مستقیم دو تا ایده رو تو دو تا فرهنگ یا دین نمیتونیم با هم مقایسه بکنیم به دلیل تفاوتایی که دارن، میتونیم دست به دامن آنالوژی بشیم. و مثال خوبی حالا زدن برای روشن کردن این مطلب که مثلا ما حالا ممکنه عیسی رو نتونیم مقایسه کنیم، اون جایگاهی که در مسیحیت داره چیزی قابل مقایسه با او در اسلام نیست که بگیم پسر خداست، فرزند خداست. ولی اگر بخوام به نحو قیاسی یا تشابهی در واقع این مقایسه تطبیقی رو انجام بدیم میتونیم بگیم مثلا نسبت خدا با عیسی در مسیحیت مانند نسبت مثلا الله با یه چیزی که البته گفتن شما باید بگید که اون چیه در اسلام. یعنی اینجوری ما راه رو برای کار تطبیقی آماده تر بکنیم. The last question.
Thanks. I have a question from Dr. Ayatollahy about the notion of comparative philosophy of religion. I think this notion, comparative philosophy of religion, imply that we have, for example, Christian philosophy of religion, Islamic philosophy of religion, or, for example, Jewish philosophy of religion. If this is so, I have a question about what's the difference between philosophy and theology? What's the difference between philosophy and religious studies?
Yes.
Okay.
سوالم اینه که درباره مفهوم فلسفه دین تطبیقی، اگر ما این مفهوم رو بپذیریم به نظر میرسه که این مفهوم دلالت میکنه که ما مثلا فلسفه دین مثلا مسلمان ها رو داشته باشیم، اسلامی داشته باشیم، فلسفه دین یهودی داشته باشیم و الی آخر. به نظر میرسه که اگر چنین چیزی باشه اون وقتی که تمایز بین فلسفه و تئولوژی کلام یا مثلا فلسفه و مطالعات ادیان به عنوان یک دیسیپلین چی میشه؟
It's a very, very good question because it is about the relation between philosophy and religion. I don't believe in Islamic philosophy of religion and also Christian philosophy of religion. I believe in philosophy of religion from an Islamic point of view, from an Islamic tradition, or from in the Islamic context. And Christian philosophy, we don't have Christian philosophy of religion, because if you say Christian, it's not philosophy. It's, as you said, it is theology. But philosophy of religion from a Christian point of view. Therefore, you have philosophy of religion in the context of Christianity. We believe that these two contexts are different, and therefore philosophizing, the titles are different, the meanings are different, and there are a lot of similarities. Therefore, we must know that the context is very important for philosophizing.
Can I tell you that if someone is going to do philosophy of religion, first we should study, for example, a religion. For example,
Yes, of course. Yes. Because philosophy of religion is about the subjects in the religion. You cannot say that the subject is out of religion. When you want to know what is the subject in a religion, you must know a religion and what is the ideas, what is the teachings of a religion. Therefore, we need to have good idea from one religion and another religion. Thank you.
بسیار خوب. من تشکر میکنم از حضور و همراهی همه دوستان. البته اساتیدی همکاران خیلی خوب من تو جلسه هستن، مسلما اگر نکاتی رو میفهمدن خب بیشتر استفاده میکنیم. شاید ترجیح دادن که حالا دوستان جوانتر وارد بحث بشن. ما دیگه به انتهای این پایان آمدین دفتر رسیدیم در امسال. امیدواریم که خدا توفیق بده در سالهای آینده هم این برنامه با همت و یاری و همراهی دوستان ادامه پیدا بکنه. ما بنای خود من این بود که برای جلسه اختتامیه یک برنامه کوتاه متنوعی داشته باشیم، ولی خب با ملاحظاتی به نظر آمد که دیگه دوستانم خستن به همین شکل تمام بکنیم. یه برنامه خیلی کوتاهی داریم، البته میشه 2 مورد باشه. یک مورد از یکی دیگر از مهمانان خارجیمون من هماهنگ کردم، دعوت میکنم به عنوان نماینده در واقع مهمانان خارجی ما اینجا بیان 2-3 دقیقه فقط اون تجربه خودشون رو از این سفر و از این سمینار برای ما بگن. در کنارش اگر از دوستان خلاصه خودمونی هم اگر یکی از اساتید صحبتی برای گفتن دارن نماینده، البته صحبت‌های خوب بکنند، اگر تعریف کنند به عنوان نماینده حالا شرکت کنندگان داخلی، اون رو هم میتونیم داشته باشیم. بعدم یه عکس یادگاری میگیریم. حالا اینجا محیط هم یه مقدار تنگ و زیخ هست ولی سعی میکنیم که بله حالا تستش بکنیم آقای دکتر، بله ببینیم که Okay, I would like to thank you all, the participants in this round table. I would like to say that for me at least it was very useful. Of course there are a lot of issues need firm contemplation, firm discussion, but this was just a sample of what we may have as a comparative philosophy as a live discussion. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. شما بفرمایید. ایشون بیاد. شما بریم پایین بیاد جای من. باشه. Now I'd like to invite Professor Tunali. Is correct my pronunciation? Tunali. Okay. Tunali. Again from Italy. Last year, Professor was among the participants of our previous conference, but it seems that that event was very joyful for Professor because he preferred to return to Iran again. پارسال ایشون مهمون ما بودن، امسال سال دوم آمدن. میگم این نشون میده سوم. خب خیلی خوبه. Okay, you as a representative of
short. ممنون برای کنفرانس. I think that the problem of God in the philosophy of religion can be treated by an example. It is as God could be a meaning of the words. We can translate a language in another language. We can imagine to can isolate the meaning, but it is impossible. Isolate. The meaning itself is the same. When we transpose it, we translate from, for example, from French, from English to German or Farsi. We have the necessity to imagine that the meaning is the same, but and in this sense we can isolate the meaning, but it is impossible to grasp this and separate from the language. But in a certain sense, is possible. Isolate this, the meaning in another sense is impossible. This is the problem. The philosophy of religion aims to create the condition to better comprehension between the people. People have to cooperate for the peace and the harmony. ملت‌ها باید برای صلح و هماهنگی تلاش بکنند.